Hey puppy. What? I just want to see if you want to be in today's video. Hey guys, it's Jasmine, and Puppy is scratching on his scratch pad right below me, so you might be able to hear him sporadically through this video. And today we are going to answer the very popular question, why has my cat stopped drinking water? And I'm gonna go ahead and say that what you learn in this video might be very surprising and a little bit controversial. Before we get started, if you like cat stuff and learning things about cat nutrition and raw cat food, and fitness and nutrition and things for humans, then make sure you click that subscribe button below, as well as a little bell icon that's right next to it, because we do put out a new video every Saturday. Now, my guess is that you've probably Googled, why has my cat stopped drinking water? Or why isn't my cat drinking water? And you likely have come up with a ton of web pages that give you a number of possible reasons. These reasons could potentially include illnesses or infections. For example, a dental infection like an abscess that causes your cat pain or discomfort with eating or drinking. It could be digestive issues, or if it's something pretty serious, then typically you'll notice other symptoms along with it, like general malaise or a difference in behavior or a big difference in their litter box habits, which, like I always suggest, if you have any serious health concerns with your cat, the number one thing you should always do is make an appointment with your vet as soon as you can. All of the other reasons you'll see are basically having to do with your cats being finicky, because that's what cats are. They're known for being finicky. So it could be something like where you place the water bowl, and if it's near the litter box, for example, your cat is probably not going to want to touch it because they are very cleanly animals. Some cats may not even want to touch their water bowl if it's near their food dish. So a lot of these things are kind of trial and error to see what your individual cat prefers. The type of material that your water bowl is made out of could be a reason. For example, plastics and metal are typically two types of material that you want to avoid, whether it's for the metallic taste that it may give and that your cat may have an aversion to, or a lot of cats have an allergy to plastic to where they start to get cat acne, which is those little black dots all over their chin. That said, the best materials to go with are typically glass or ceramic, if you don't get something like a fountain, which leads us to the next potential reason that your cat may not be drinking from the water bowl. Going back to the cleanliness and the finickiness, cats don't tend to prefer stagnant water, so you always want to make sure that you have fresh water. The best thing to do is get something that moves, like a fountain, and that's why you'll notice a lot of cats tend to be attracted to play with water coming out of faucets or sinks, sometimes even the moving water of a toilet. But if you don't have something like one of those pet fountains, then you just have to make sure that you change out your cat's water every single day, and don't just dump the water out and refill it. Make sure that you're cleaning the dish, because they can tell if it's not cleanly enough, and in a lot of cases, if they usually drink from that dish and you notice that they've stopped, then it could be because it's simply dirty. Another reason is water PTSD in a way. If you've tried to sneak some kind of medicine or supplement in your cat's water, then they could have an aversion to it because they'll assume that you're always trying to put something like that in the water, or there could be some residue left if you've dumped the water out and refilled it and, like I said, didn't clean it well enough to where they now have an aversion to that water bowl. If it's not all of those things, it could also be the type of water itself. For example, some cats are said to prefer hard water or filtered water. So there are a bunch of potential reasons that you will find if you look up, why has my cat stopped drinking water, or why isn't my cat drinking water? But what if I told you that your cat isn't supposed to be drinking water from a separate source, such as a water bowl or a fountain anyway? If you already have and have read my book, The Holistic Fitness Starter Guide, which is for humans, then you already learned the importance of water and maintaining hydration through nutritional means for us people. You also learned that the whole recommended 8 glasses of water a day is a minimal requirement based on people eating very dry and dehydrated foods. In other words, if you eat more water-rich foods, then you won't be as thirsty because you're gaining that water and hydration from the food you are eating as opposed to liquids that you're drinking. In a way, this applies to our feline fur babies also. The difference is, and what's important to understand, is that felines have a weaker sense of hydration, which means that they don't have the same sensitivity as humans or even dogs to the sense of thirst. Not only are they less sensitive to the stimulus of thirst, but they can also survive on less water than humans and even dogs. Now, some of this may be a little unsurprising because hello, they are a completely different species, but I like to compare them to humans so that it's relatable, and to dogs because I feel like a lot of people, even though we are aware that dogs and cats are different species, sometimes we might assume that they have the same behaviors because they are domestic pets that we take care of in similar ways in our households. For example, a cat might not drink its water or eat its food if it's too close to the litter box, but a dog might see no problem eating another dog's poop. What matters here in this video is that your cats cannot judge their sense of thirst like we might expect them to. The thing to remember here is our precious little house lions really are kind of similar to lions. They are mainly descendants of desert wildcats who are by nature designed to get their hydration from their prey, meaning that cats are designed to get their hydration and their water from their food rather than from a separate source. According to a veterinary article from the CVC in Kansas City in 2010 entitled "Cats Obligate Carnivore," cats adjust their water intake based on the dry matter content of their diet rather than the moisture content. They consume 1.5 to 2 milliliters of water per gram of dry matter. This 2-to-1 ratio of water to dry matter is similar to that of their typical prey. Practically, this means that cats consuming a dry food diet will consume about half the amount of water through their diet and drinking compared to cats eating a canned food diet. This means that if you are feeding your cat dry kibble, which if you've been in the Cat Lady Fitness family for a while, here it is with the broken record part, dry kibble is so horrible for your cat and the worst food for your cat, and you should not be feeding your cat dry kibble. And I'm very glad that you're here if you are currently feeding your cat dry food, because that's why I make these videos, to help educate about the best things for our feline fur babies. So in a way, what this all means is if you are feeding your cat a dry food kibble diet only, not only are they more susceptible to health issues and kidney disease and bladder infections and anything that a lack of water causes in your cat's health, but you're also making it harder on yourself as a cat owner because you have to more closely monitor your cat's water intake and, in a way, convince them against their natural instincts by trying to get them to drink from these separate water sources. Because again, cats don't have that sensitivity to the stimulus of thirst. And the only time that you'll see them actively drinking water, and it's especially bad if you see them lapping it up like a dog, that means they're already in a state of dehydration, not simply preventing it. Now, I'm talking about actually drinking water, not simply playing with it, because although cats are kind of known generally for hating water and hating getting wet, it totally depends on the breed, because some breeds love playing in water and playing in the faucets, or even hopping in the shower with some people, or sometimes even swimming. Those breeds can include Bengals, Savannahs, Maine Coons, Manx, or Abyssinians, and there's a few more. So if your cat likes actually playing in water, that's totally normal, and that's dependent on your individual cat and their breed. But the message I want to put across to you guys here is that if your cat is actually drinking water, and especially drinking a lot more water than usual, or kind of even drinking water regularly at all, that might actually be a sign that something is wrong or worth looking into with your cat's health or nutrition, as opposed to the other way around. Now, I know a lot of you are here who are already feeding your cat a raw food or prey model diet, which is the best diet for your cat. If you are not familiar with it, if you want to learn more about it, then I will leave a link up in that eye icon right there and in the description below for my cat stuff playlist, where I have tons and tons of videos, including recipes on how to make it, free recipe calculators, including for portion sizes and the benefits and all kinds of things. So I really encourage you to go check out all of those videos and resources when you're done watching this one. But if you are concerned that your cat stopped drinking water when they started eating a raw food or prey model diet, or even if you switched your cat from dry kibble to a wet canned food diet, the fact of the matter is it's actually a sign that your cat is getting healthier. Now, it's really important that you consider this according to your cat's health markers and behavior and appearance. And if all of that seems okay, and even seems like it's been improving, which is normally the case if you've switched your cat from dry kibble or sometimes even wet food to a raw food or prey model diet, then it is safe to say that you're on the right track. Again, we might be used to seeing our pets regularly drinking water if you have had dogs, or if you've even had any other kind of animal, or if you have had your cat, but your cat has been eating that dry kibble, and so you did see your cat drinking water. It might just set something off like an alarm in your head. So it's totally understandable, but once you understand the species and the inherent instincts and the nature of what your cat is better, then it should bring peace of mind knowing that if your cat is eating a raw cat food diet, or sometimes a wet canned food diet, and you don't even see them touching their water bowl, it is completely natural. I'll admit, of course, this was a concern of mine too when I started Puppy on his raw food diet, and he would not touch his water bowl at all. He wouldn't drink from it at all. And the only times that I saw him touch it, the first time was after he snuck into a dog's dry kibble, and then I noticed him drinking water later that day, and it was the first time in probably a year that I saw him touch his water bowl. To fix that issue, if you haven't seen it, I bought an automatic pet feeder for the dog that's a microchip pet feeder. So it will only open for the dog, and since then, Puppy can't get into that food, so we haven't had a problem. Now also consider this, wet canned food has at least 70% moisture, and that goes for raw cat food, and the prey model diet has at least 70% moisture, if not more, while dry kibble has only 10% moisture. So in the very least, I hope that you choose to switch your cat to wet canned food, a high quality wet canned food, if you are feeding your cat a dry kibble diet. If you are a little weary about the raw cat food diet, if it seems intimidating to you, if you just have a lot of questions, again, make sure you check out my cat stuff playlist, because I have so many videos on there that can hopefully make you feel more comfortable with the idea. So all in all, there are 3 real questions that you should reflect on and ask yourself if you see your cat drinking from a separate water source than his or her food. The first thing is to take a look at your cat's diet and consider switching its food around to something more wet and more moisture rich, and hopefully a raw food or prey model diet, but in the very least to a wet canned food diet. The second thing is to assume that if you see your cat drinking from the water bowl, it could be a sign that he or she ingested something that they weren't supposed to. So in Puppy's case, it was dog kibble, and it could also be something toxic like plants, which I have a video about as well. It could be some kind of chemical or something that is causing them to go to their water and just try to help their body flush it out. And the third thing to be aware of is to ask yourself if it's a potential health concern. Hyperthyroidism, which I have a thorough video about, is really prevalent in indoor cats these days. And one of the symptoms is drinking a lot of water, as well as urinating a lot, seeming very stressed out. So I will link that video in the description below as well, because it's full of a ton of information. Now, all that being said, you still always need to have a water source out for your cat. If they're not touching it, if they are eating a raw food or a wet canned food diet, then at least now you have the comfort of knowing that that is completely natural, considering that all of their other health markers are there. And of course, if you notice that your cat is acting oddly or lethargic, or you're concerned that he or she is dehydrated, and if you haven't received enough answers in this video to make you comfortable, then always consult with your vet anytime you have serious health concerns. Now, to summarize basically what we talked about today, a healthy cat that is being fed the proper diet for its species should not be lapping up water regularly like a dog. If you notice that that's what's happening with your cat, it's either time to improve their nutrition, play detective and try to figure out if they ingested something they shouldn't have, or go to your vet for a checkup so that they can run the proper tests to see if anything is wrong. Now, one of the best ways to be aware of what's happening with your cat's health is actually by monitoring what goes on in the litter box. And if you want to learn more about that, that's exactly what we will be talking about next Catterday. So make sure that you click that subscribe button below, as well as the little bell icon that's right next to it, because that way you will get notified when that video goes up. Please remember to click that thumbs up below if you found this video interesting or helpful, and please do share it with anybody else who you think would find it beneficial too. Yeah. You want to? Okay, well, I woke him up from a nap. He's not pleased. Well, Puppy and I thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.